Good morning, girls. Today we'll take the comprehension questions of the sneeze, page 889, 889. First question, where does the opening scene of the play take place? The opening scene of the play takes place in the theater. Question 2, summarize. Okay, how does the general react when Chekov sneezes? What did he do? The general, yes, he gets irritated. When he gets irritated, at the beginning let's start from the beginning. At the beginning he was what? At the beginning the general is understanding. He is understanding, the general is understanding, but then he gets irritated as Chekov did what? He did what? Chekov what irritates the general? Chekov keeps apologizing. Question 3. Why does Chekov go to see the general in his office the next morning? He went to the office twice, but the first visit, why? He went to the Chekov went to the general's office to apologize for the sneeze, so that the general will not fire Chekov. Clarify. How does the play end? Chekov sneezed again on the general. The general screams at Chekov and insults him. Chekov feels humiliated and dies. Text analysis. Visualize. This is the skill to be taught, to visualize as if you are there watching it. Review the charts you filled in as you read. Which scene or situation in the play were you able to picture most vividly? Write a short paragraph describing the details. If you would like, create a sketch to accompany your paragraph to draw. So actually it's up to you. What is the most scene that has affected you? Okay? Which one? When Chekov sneezed, or when he apologized, or when he went to the general, or when the general screamed at him. Which one? It's up to you. Draw conclusion. Question 6. What is the role of the writer in the sneeze? What is the writer doing here? The writer serves as the narrator. The writer here was the narrator. So he was giving us background at the beginning of the story. He was giving us background, right? Explain the function he performs and cite evidence. So, number 1, he gave us background about the story at the beginning. Then he ordered them to shut up when they were talking, and you mentioned the lines, right? He made humorous comments in lines 192 and 193. Okay? And he shushed them, he took part in the dialogue in line 111. Then analyze the farce. Question 7. Use a chart like the one shown. Record examples of ridiculous situation, exaggerated behavior or language, and physical comedy. What are these? These are the elements of a farce. Elements of farce. How the elements of the farce happened here, applied here. Neil Simon uses these conversations of a farce to make fun of something. What in particular does he seem to be mocking? Ridiculous situation. What is a ridiculous situation here? What was so silly? Chekov's excessive apologize. Chekov's excessive apologize, when he kept apologizing. Right? Number 2, remember the slow motion of the sneeze when he imagined the sneeze again in his head? So the slow motion of the sneeze. All of that what? Ridiculous situation. In the ridiculous situation, Cherdyakov's excessive apologize, the slow motion of the sneeze, okay? And what was a ridiculous situation? His death. His death was so ridiculous. Exaggerated behavior. What is exaggerated behavior or language? At the beginning, what was so over, as we can say? When Cherdjakov and his wife went to the theater, they acted very overly polite, introduction at the theater. Overly polite. So at the beginning, number one, Cherdjakov and his wife's overly polite introduction at the theater. Number two, the description of the first sneeze. Exaggeration, because it was not like this, it was not like a hammer. Number three, what else happened? The general's abusive tirade when he abused Cherdjakov. Right? Let's go to the physical comedy, the last one. Physical comedy. What is physical comedy? Of course, the sneeze. The first sneeze. Right? Number two, the slow motion of the sneeze. Also, it is a physical comedy. And number three is what? The second sneeze, when he sneezed on the general again. The second part of the question, Neil Simon uses the conventions of a farce to make fun of something. What in particular does he seem to be mocking? He's mocking what? Simon mocks what? Simon mocks that human people, that the human tend to do what? To blow events out of proportion. What is blow events out of proportion? That Cherdjakov made a big story out of nothing. And that's what humans like to do. They exaggerate events. So he mocked what? Simon mocks the human tendency to exaggerate the events out of proportion, out of nothing. Okay? Question number 8. Dramatic irony. Dramatic irony. Remember when we discussed the irony at the beginning of the year? We have 3 kinds of irony: verbal, situational, dramatic. Verbal, when I say something I don't mean. Situational, when I expect something happens and the opposite happens. Dramatic is what? We'll see now. Identify dramatic irony. Dramatic irony occurs when the audience or the reader knows more information about a character or a situation than the other characters themselves know. Find an example of dramatic irony here. And why it is irony? What is a dramatic irony? Cherdjakov thinks that the general will fire him, but we know that he will not fire him. Number 2, Cherdjakov thinks that the general has intentionally humiliated him when he said to his wife, I have been humiliated. But we know what? We know that the general didn't humiliate him. So this is dramatic irony, right? Okay? Cherdjakov thinks that the general meant to humiliate him, but he didn't. And we know that he didn't mean to do that. The general doesn't even remember Cherdjakov when he went to him. Question number 9, the text criticism. Neil Simon had said, my idea of the ultimate achievement in a comedy is to make a whole audience fall onto the floor, withering and laughing so hard that some of them pass out. Did he accomplish this goal with the sneeze or not? You feel that or not? Did he achieve the elements of a farce that we answered here and discussed in question 7, did he achieve the elements of a farce or not? So people will really laugh. Does that make you really laugh or not? So it's up to you, girls. Thank you, girls.